Welcome to the Launch to Six podcast, a podcast about how you can launch your online business from 0 to 6 figures in 24 months or less, regardless of your prior experience. Now, here's your hosts.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Launch to Six podcast. We've got a really awesome episode today and we're going to be talking about just effing doing it. I would say the actual swear word, but we can't because iTunes don't like that. They would ban us, so we like iTunes. So we really just want to chat, have a conversation about just taking action sometimes can be enough to get the result you want. And then there's so many benefits to it. Where do we start, guys? So, Thomas, maybe share a little bit. We want to talk about some stories that we've had, and we were just chatting before this podcast. Maybe just share a little story, Thomas, about yourself when you just did it and you didn't overthink something, or maybe you overcome a failure and you were like going to quit. Share some stories.
Yeah, of course. No, thanks, guys. For me, it's always, I remember when I was getting started in business, I had a lot of my friends, and that's sometimes, honestly, for you guys, sometimes that's one of the biggest adversities to you going in business is your friends. They're like, oh, what do you know about business? What do you, and often that's something that puts somebody off. We've had a client who was like, oh, what's one of the biggest challenges? He goes, oh, my friends' opinions. Well, I had exactly the same. I had friends who, for some of you guys, I started in sort of property was where I started in business, and I still do that as alongside the online business. And I remember, talking about it, and they're like, nah, you're not going to go buy property. You've got no money, you can't get started. And I literally, for me, it was right. Okay, go raise the money, go find the money. And we did it. We bought that first property.
And what did you do though? I'm interested in the in between there, Thomas. So sorry to interrupt, but because that story, there's a gap there. So what did you do to overcome that? Because surely that must have did that make you more motivated or less motivated? I'm curious.
Do you know what? It made me more motivated. And to be honest, the other side of it is I became very kind of blunt with myself and my friends, and I made a decision. I said, right, okay, who am I going to spend more time with? Are they going to make me successful? And I took an active decision to say, right, I'm gonna not go to the pub every week with my friends. I'm going to do that every couple of weeks, and I'm going to make a decision who I'm going to spend time with. I started to spend time with other entrepreneurs, other property investors, other people who are successful in the areas I wanted to be successful. Now, just a bit of background on myself, guys. For me, I was lucky. I went for a private school education, as you can probably hear from my rather distinguished Queen's British accent. And I had friends who came from very wealthy backgrounds. I had a friend, and it wasn't as though I was around people who didn't have money. It's just how they had come to it. I had a friend of mine who, he bought a really nice car one time. It was like a Lamborghini Ferrari. It was a lovely car. He got this at, very young. He got it in his 20s because of his family's money. And I said to him, I will have one of those cars by the age of 30. And just for reference, guys, I'm not 30 yet. I said, I will have one of those cars. And he turned around to me and he said, no, you won't. I said, what do you mean? I was quite upset at the time because I thought, we're quite good friends. He goes, no, you won't. So, and I questioned him. I said, why do you say that? He goes, everybody who has one of those cars that I know in this sort of age category, they have either got wealthy or dead or both parents. And I went, that's a very, wow. Like, and I mulled on it. I went, actually, do you know what? That's his belief. That's his belief because that's what he's built. Regardless of the context, guys, if you're around people who haven't, for example, done well, haven't succeeded, then they're going to have an impact on you. If you go down the pub and you say to somebody, I'm starting a business, and this guy, all he's done is sat most of his life and just drank beer, he's not going to be a great advisor to you, is he? And so
No.
that was one of the biggest things for me. So I overcame that. So long and short of the story, because I've diverted, guys, was I decided to pick and choose and value my time with certain people. Now, I still have a good network of friends, but I've managed that. I have people who I spend more time with, and I have people who have less time with. And it's a balanced approach I have to when I speak to people and how I give my time. I value my time more. And then from that, I take action.
That's really interesting. That story is amazing, actually. It's funny, isn't it, that his belief, because from his experience, when you look at Ferrari, it's not even that much. When you look at the facts and the numbers, it's not that much. Like, it's not as much as people think. It's like 2,600 a month with at least probably.
Well, I mean,
50 grand down.
He bought his in cash at about 100+ grand. So
which is not financial, which is not
well,
smart. He could have leveraged his cash to triple.
There's all sorts of ways you can look at it. I mean, ultimately, that car is a slightly unusual asset and has gone up slightly in value, but.
How 10% a year, 5%,
something like that, I would presume. Like okay, so it's a slightly grey story, but I think the key thing being is that belief, and that understanding. If you spend time with people who have got the poor mindset, they haven't achieved what you want to achieve. Naturally, they're going to judge. The other element is people get threatened. People tall poppy syndrome, very common. I don't know wherever you guys are in the world, but here in the UK, we call it tall poppy syndrome. The tall poppy that stands up, that gets cut. It's very British and British culture. People, if anyone's listening from the States, you guys love success and wealth. And in England, it's the other way around. If they see you in a flash car, they're likely to go and key it. Not everywhere, of course.
Same as smaller countries that haven't quite made it, because it's like the crabs in the bucket syndrome.
Yes,
the crab is about to leave, and all the other crabs pull them.
That's a beautiful metaphor.
Exactly.
I recently learned about that. They just all hold each other in.
Yeah.
You just keep throwing more crabs into the bucket, and they'll never ever leave, because all of the ones on the bottom will just keep pulling them down.
Keep pulling them down. And this can be your best friend in life. This can be your family member, your spouse. I mean, Tom, you had it before with the number of people who are coming through. I know you were running your programs previously, and the number of people who ended up in divorce because
most people
changed.
Do you want me to give you stats?
Go on.
A 40% divorce rate.
Wow. Mind you, that's lower than the UK average. That's lower than the UK average.
Yeah, no, this is within 12 months of the mentoring.
Wow. Okay, that's insane.
Most people had mental breakdowns because I would be so hard on them. I'd basically
drill sergeant.
No, but listen though, but they didn't stay in that. I'm having some fun with this, but they didn't stay like it. They actually got better. So they had breakdowns, not for like years. They had breakdown for a week or two, and then they would get better. And that's what I've had in my life. I've had them little, them dips, but you learn so much in them low times. But that's interesting what you said, Thomas, about the environment, because the way I'm looking at it is like your environment. So yeah, that's fascinating. Sorry,
how about you, mate?
God, mine's a long one. Mine's a long one. Maybe Casper wants to share his take on it first, and I need
go on, Casper.
For me, it's a little bit different. Yeah, I mean, I've not been in business for as long as you guys. I kind of took the more corporate route. I kind of, climbed the career ladder. I got a few comfortable jobs. I even actually had a very, very comfortable and well-paid job in the financial sector in a stock brokerage. So I mean, that was a very comfortable job, very, very well paid. So it was actually quite difficult for me to just take that leap and just leave behind the comfortable lifestyle, the salary and like all of the luxuries associated with that, and kind of jump into the unknown and start my own business. Because I mean, everybody was talking me out of it. They were like, "You've got such a great job, you've got such a well-paying job. You've worked hard to get this job. It's difficult. Just why would you throw that all away to go start an uncertain business?"
What was it that you went, do you know what? That's it. What was it that pushed you off the ledge to go,
Well, I mean, I've always had a few side hustles going on. I kind of I always liked to get involved with things outside of work. So I'd find that I'd have a few side hustles going on. I mean, being in the IT sector, I'd kind of, write the odd website for somebody or help somebody out with an app. And then I realized that I could get paid more for doing something that I'm good at, directly outsourcing my skills rather than kind of being in employment, because being in employment, essentially my salary will be capped, and it's kind of what my employer will choose to give me. And I mean, no matter how generous that is, that's always going to be capped plus some sort of bonus. But if you go work for yourself, if you go set up your own business, well, then essentially you can reap unlimited rewards for your hard work. So it no longer becomes the case of time equals money, it's results equals money. And it's a model that I kind of prefer.
Didn't you say once that you were, what was it, that you were writing something for one of the clients of your company, and they were getting, you were telling me about this. Don't go into too much detail, obviously. I mean, sure, I appreciate that, but I know you were saying you were writing a program for somebody that your company was charging out to someone, and you're looking at your paid versus the many millions that they charge the client.
That was probably my first eye-opening experience, because I'd just got this, what I believed to be a very well-paid job, writing a piece of software. And like you said, I wrote this piece of software to spec. It was working. It had gone through the whole process, and it was the end product. And then I heard from one of my co-workers that this had then been sold to a third party for a couple of million, and goodness. Just all of a sudden made my seemingly well-paid salary seem dwarfed in comparison to what my superiors were making off of my talent. So I kind of thought, well, there must be a way to kind of bypass them and reap more of the rewards of my work. So that's essentially what drove me to start my own business.
But I suppose the other element, we were chatting about this, was the fact that, I mean, it's just lifestyle. I mean, like this morning, like we went out, like, guys, we have a ritual at Launch 6 Menacing Media. As you probably tell, we quite like coffee. So me and Casper will go we'll go and grab a coffee every Monday, Friday at 11. Obviously we live very close to each other, and so we'll do this. And there is an element of that lifestyle, isn't there? There is a form of like, okay, definitely. We have a strong commitment, we work very hard, and we love what we do, but there is that flexibility element. I mean, remember your car. I mean, Casper, obviously me and Casper are both massively...
We had to travel halfway across the country to go pick it up.
Oh my goodness. I just remember, I mean, we're getting slightly off topic, but I remember Casper calls me up and he's like, I found a car. And I'm like, okay, what is it? He goes, 1986 Volvo. And I'm like, okay, where is it? He goes, Manchester. And for you guys who aren't familiar with the UK geography, Manchester for us, for me and Casper, is about a 5-hour drive one way. And he just went, I want to get it. I'm like, when? He goes, today. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I looked at the diary and I went, do you know what? Actually, screw it. Like we can shuffle some things and we can make this happen. And because we'd made that decision, we'd done it, we'd got started in our business, we'd pushed forwards, we'd made that decision, and having done it, we were able to say at that point, do you know what? Actually, we'll take the afternoon off. And we had probably, I mean, I'll be honest, that was probably one of the good, like, we love driving. So we had some of the funnest driving, we'd had for a long time. But we just we could do that. We had that flexibility.
But yeah, I was afraid somebody might snatch that car before I did. So so I really wanted to get it as quickly as possible. And everyone else I'd asked they were bogged down with their day jobs. They couldn't really just go and take a couple of hours or a whole day off to go drive me to go pick up my dream car. No. So, but you did. You were there. You reshuffled your schedule.
Yeah, but I think it comes down to having, a lot of people, when they start a business, you've gone past that point. You've gone, I'm starting a business. You've registered your company, and they're like, wow, this freedom. And this is the other part of really pushing, doing this, following the actions, following the steps, having a mentor, being accountable, is that a lot of people, the moment they come out of their corporate jobs, out of their job, they get this massive sense of freedom. And I think that it can be very kind of
difficult to motivate yourself if you've not got a boss essentially looking over your shoulder.
Yeah, to a point.
Paradigm.
I think you suddenly end up a bit unstructured and you end up floating a little bit. And so
But this is why I like the term being your own boss,
Yes.
because it implies that you do actually have to be a boss
Yes.
to yourself. You have to hold yourself accountable. You've got to kind of set your targets and you've got to be hitting them.
But this is where I always say, like, you know, you get the freedom, but no, first comes discipline. Discipline, work, you know, discipline equals results. With the results come the freedom, not the other way around.
100%.
This is where a lot of people, I think, struggle and why they don't become successful. If they don't have the discipline, then they get the results, then they get the freedom.
Yeah, well, I guess
that's really
the
important.
episode's about taking massive action, and I think people don't have a direction to take that action. They're almost like this. Oh, what do I do today? You know, they don't have any direction. That's why mentors are so. That's why following a step-by-step program is so important, because you have a structure. Like people go, oh, you don't, you know, your friends and family go, you can learn all this on YouTube. I wouldn't say that's true, but you could learn maybe 20-30%. Even if you could learn it all on YouTube, it's not structured. There's no accountability. It's not in chronological order. It's difficult. You know what I mean? There's many, it's really difficult. So you need to be able to direct your action. You really need to be able to direct your action. Then when you know what to do, you can go big. You know, so that old saying is go big or go home. And it's really down to you then how bad do you want it and why are you really doing it? And I think if you can find that reason why, you become unstoppable. I remember when I started, I was getting into property, real estate, wherever you guys are listening to this, the Americans call it a real estate. But I remember when I started, I was working at GNC and I had the 4-hour week. I told you this story, Thomas, but I had the 4-hour work week book. And I remember I would write down all this stuff and people would be asking, how's your day going? I was selling like supplements. So I was like the assistant manager there, literally assistant manager in 2012, earning £6.75. And every time my commission, a lot of affiliates listen to this, my commission was 3.5%. I was the best salesperson in the area and I had 3.5% commission. It was just ridiculous. I made no money, you know, it was like literally impossible as assistant manager there at the place, but it was insane looking back at it now. But literally, I remember when I started, everyone, I would tell them what I'm doing. Oh, that's great. But really, when I turned my back, they said, that's bullshit. Do you know what I mean? So they were all nice to me. That's amazing. One guy, a real estate guy, come in, literally good looking guy, tan, you know, had confidence about him, dressed well, always on the phone. He looked like he was doing deals. He always come in and would spend at least 250 quid on supplements. So these are like supplements, bodybuilding supplements, the best supplements. He said, well, what are you doing? No, what are you up to? I said, I'm starting my own business soon. And he went, in what sector? I said, property investing. He went, oh, that's easy. You'll make loads of money in that. Look at the difference in mindset. Guess what? I told 30 people that. He was the only one. The only person.
I love it.
And guess what? How weird's this? The way the universe works. 6 months later, he didn't recognize me. I'm in this place with my friend Ollie, he's made millions online. He started from poverty and built himself up. And he was next to me and he was having a conversation with a friend. And his friend said, so what's your goal now? He goes, because you're retired at 31.
Wow.
So he was a 31-year-old self-made millionaire. I didn't even know, but I could tell by his swagger, his confidence. He was complimentary, giving. He wasn't what everyone thinks, oh, rich people are bad. No, he wasn't. He complimented me. He doesn't even know I exist. He probably helped me make £2 million. Literally, like he didn't even know that. But that little nudge of advice he gave me, that was like a bit of confidence, because my boss told me I would be a failure. He said, you're a disgrace. Said I was pathetic, spat in my face once, close up in my face. No one else believed in me at all. My brother had confidence in me. My mum was like, just go do it already. Bless her, she didn't understand the business element of it. But my dad helped me to what he could, but most of the time it was very resilient. But what he said, I remember that till this day. It was a 2-minute conversation. He literally went, oh, real estate's easy. You'll make loads of money in that. See ya. And I was like, That was the spur. And 6 months later, I find out he's a retired millionaire in property. It's unbelievable. That story is interesting. And only 2 years ago, guys, I saw him in London around near a Hyde Park corner, literally doing deals. I think he was buying commercial units. He was doing something in property going into commercial. So that is fascinating because, and imagine though, if you're around them people 24/7.
Yeah, I mean, I remember.
Powerful.
I mean, we went to an event to New York, myself and Tom, and we met up with a couple of guys in marketing. I won't say their names, but these guys were on a real big American entrepreneurs. These guys were making $80,000 a day, and I'm sat there looking at it, I'm like, wow, like this exists, you know, and most people, you know, when you say $80,000 a year or $80,000 a month, people are like, my God. You meet someone who's doing that per day, and it's a completely different level.
Some people even make that in a minute.
Yeah, this is what's fascinating. When you spend
just time a case of perspective
with people who are just doing it, it's a very different space.
It's a very different mentality.
And the funny thing, I guess it was relatable, right, Thomas, because it was in the online course niche, but it was also, they started from scratch.
Yeah. And this is something I love, is when you can chat to somebody, because it can be, I mean, I'll be honest, I've been there where I've been, you know, whether it be in whichever business, online, property, whatever, and you're at the start of that, you haven't done anything, and it's like you meet people who are, you know, mega millionaires, uber billionaires, whatever, you know, in their space, and you're like, oh, I can't relate to that. But when you've got somebody there who can bring themselves back down and say, look, this is where I started, this is how I began, I find it really inspiring. I love being able to have them. We've got one of our clients, you know, at Menacing Media, who's a landscape architecture firm. You know, they're amazing. But he was telling us about, back in 2007, he went near bankrupt, and he was brutally blunt about it. He was so open and honest. He spoke about his 30-year journey of going through business, and it was. I love having these conversations, because everybody, wherever they are now, they started somewhere, and this is what I find. And you hear, and this is again going about, you know, talking about just doing it. It's about being around these type of people, and
because they naturally they wear off on you.
They do. They wear off on you. It's a strange analogy, but it's true. And that guy, I mean, 2 minutes and he changed your life.
Yeah, no, seriously, that's
2 minutes. He changed your life.
Story. I can see the vision. I remember everyone would come in. I'll be telling, and guess what they did? Here's what's really important, guys. Look, I'm not criticizing anyone that's, you know, overweight or anything. But let's just say I want to get in fitness advice. This is a really stark, down-to-earth story that will make sense. If I want to get fitness advice, I'm going to get someone that's in shape to what I want to get. And it makes sense, right? It's logical. But why do we do that with business? Why do we listen to someone that, you know, it's not that they're bad people, but that's not where we want to go. We listen to people in business, and we listen to these people and let them give our advice, and it sinks into your subconscious. And then all this stuff becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy of bad stuff. So, you know, listen to people. I remember people told me, family, this is bad. The property is really bad. You're going to rip people off. You're not going to make any money. You got to raise money. I said, no, with the strategy I'm doing, it's very good. It's legal. But again, I was explaining myself, and they were never going to get it. Do you know how they were going to get it? By me demonstrating and doing it and proving it. Yeah. And it took, you know, and that's it. And I've had many, you know, there's probably people listening to us. I've had dips, I've had tough times, I've had great time. You know, I made my first million at 23 years old, which is great, but people have done it at 18, so it's kind of not that great. It's good, but you know, people have done better. I'm not showing off about that. But then I've had dips. I've made some errors when I went against my judgment. So what got me back up, honestly, I would say it's down to environment and people. Good people. I won't mention names, but you know, yourselves, other close friends I have, and they're all successful in business. They've all had little challenges and got back up. and they are all in business and they're successful, you know, and it's when it comes down to business, and it's just like, get around them people. So if you're going to invest in a mentorship, really you want the environment of people. That's what you want to get around. Otherwise, if you want to make money and you're around people that go, you're never going to make any money ever online, how is that going to have a benefit on you? Like, how is that? There's no benefit. So if you have that around you, that's fine. Respect their opinion. That's not a problem. Not everyone has to believe what you think, but please get around a members club, an online Zoom coaching weekly webinar, you know, like we have in our coaching programs, because it will change your life eventually. It takes about 90 days to rub off on you, but rub off on you sounds funny, right? That's the male mind there, but eventually it will work for you. And I think it's the most important thing. I don't know what you guys think. To wrap this one up, I think getting around people that are like-minded is huge. It doesn't have to be in every area of life, but please, in business, get around positive influences.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, as you said, you know, I mean, the title of this podcast, just effing do it. But it is, you know, one, there is the element of it's going to be uncomfortable and you're going to have to force yourself to do stuff that you don't want to do. In most cases, you know, there's going to be elements of that. And that's just plain sailing when you start a business, and get around the right people. And at the end of the day, you know, people be like, oh, it's a risk starting a business. But if you don't risk anything, you're risking everything in your life, because what's the point in living then?
Yeah.
Think about it in that respect.
Thomas, what's the point? Can I ask you a question? That's interesting, isn't it? Because people say it's a risk. A risk of what?
Well, ultimately, and risk of what? Ultimately, if you think about life, you know, you can get back pretty much anything in life. You can get back lots of things. The things you can't get back, well, the one thing definitely that you can't get back is time.
No.
You can't get that back.
No.
So why waste that? That's the key thing.
They say successful people, and we're talking about like business, but anyone, you know, Mozart, anyone, Dali, you know, all these, Elvis, anyone that's great at what they do, they value their time. For example, and this could be another episode, guys. This is a little tip, and this will help you to network with successful people. Don't ask a millionaire to have coffee with them, because what you're doing is you're basically, this could be another episode, but I need to be blunt here because I think this will help people. When you message someone that's an online millionaire and you go, I want to pick your mind, can I take you for coffee? You're not valuing their time. Let's just say you could charge someone 10 grand an hour for your time or a day. And someone said, can I give you a £2.50 for your time? You would be like, what? I charge 10,000 a day, not 250. So a lot of you guys, they're arrogant, these online people. I messaged this online influencer or Gary Vee and they didn't get back to me. It's not personal. They're so busy, and they're so busy taking action. Do you know how you network these people? So this is going off on a tangent. Let's do another episode on this, but people are going to love this episode when we do it. Offer them value, pay them, offer them value, work for free for 5 years, and then getting it, or you need to offer value to people. And that's what all successful people do. And then again, that's gone off on a tangent, but for some reason I wanted to say that because I sense newbies like I was messaging gurus going, can you give me feedback on my property deals? They never got back because I wasn't paying them. And then they were like, here's my mentorship, son, pay it. I was like, oh, okay. I paid it. And then they answered my questions. Oh man, that's a funny story. But anyway, that's some advice for you guys to help you out.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, on that, I think it's a good point to wrap up on. It's very, very, very valid, very valuable advice. But yeah, guys, as always, check out the Launch 6 forum. Like, subscribe, leave us a comment. We do go through these. We love the feedback. We want to interact with you guys. And we will catch you on the next one. Take care.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, everyone. Goodbye.
Hey guys, it's Tom Ash. We hope you guys have enjoyed the episode as much as we've loved putting it together for you. Please guys, do us a huge favor. Hit that love button, hit that subscribe button, and review us on Apple iTunes. We do read the comments. We want to improve our content and give you guys the best that we've got. Equally, the best comment, guys, we will shout you guys out, and we are giving out free courses. So guys, please come hit that love button, leave us a review, and we'll catch you on the next podcast, guys. All the best. Take care.